Hey everyone, thank you so much for stopping by today. My name is Heather and I'm bringing you my September wrap up. That was weird. I need to go get my coffee. I had to carry my books with me to go get my coffee. How are you? I feel like I haven't been here for forever because it's been like 2 weeks since I actually filmed a video because my life has been freaking nutballs. Like crazy. Crazy. And I apologize for not being here for 2 weeks, but I see that I have some new people here and welcome to this book journey. Thank you for coming by and being a part of it and hanging out with me. And just, you know, talking about books. I love books. And today, again, like I said in the intro, is my September wrap up. I read a total of 12 books, I think. And I'm never prepared, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, 14. Okay, 14. I read a total of 14 books. A few, it was about half and half ebooks and physical. So we're gonna get into it, but I'm gonna take a little coffee break real quick. What's your favorite, like, Starbucks or just coffee in general during the fall? Mine is always, my go-to is a venti caramel macchiato with soy milk because I'm lactose intolerant, if you did not know. But anyways, enough stalling. So, looking at my phone like I usually do in my wrap-ups. We're just going to go through the books. Like I said, I pretty much read like a half and half of physical plus I had an audiobook in there and also ebooks. Some of these were from NetGalley. Some of these were... Do I have one on here? Bam. Okay. Alright. This is going on way too long already. It's already 2 minutes in and I haven't even started yet. Okay. So, I'm going to be looking down at my phone. The first book that I ended up picking up was Ultimate Sacrifice, and this is by S.E. Green. I gave this book a 4-star. It is a very dark and kind of confusing book at first because the girl, what is her name? Vicky is not very reliable, but in the very beginning she sees her brother running out of the woods and he finds a dead body that's been slaughtered. And you can tell that the body has been sacrificed just by the way that it's been chopped up and everything, but she finds out that it is her 4-year-old neighbor that it happened to. So this rocks the town. It's a very, very rural town in Tennessee, and it just rocks them to the core, and people are just trying to figure out what happened to this girl, and it just goes from there. Her family is a little weird, but it was a pretty good book. I enjoyed it. It was very, very fast. It's only like 291 pages, but it reads so fast because the words are like, you see that? No, I don't think you can see it, but the words are pretty big, and it was a really good book. If you're looking for like a culty sacrifice mystery horror novel, I would pick this up because it's really good. It's really good. Pick it up, people. Alright, the next book I read is Blind Item, and I gave this book 3 stars. This is by Kevin Dixon and Jack Ketsulian. And this was a train wreck, but it was a fun train wreck. It is all about people in Hollywood. It has the dark secrets of Hollywood that we don't get to see because we just see like the glamorous. That's why there's a rotten banana with that's been blinged out on the front. But it's talking about drugs. It's talking about how people in the LGBTQ plus community get treated. It's talking about women getting treated badly. It's talking about all this kind of stuff, and it's like watching a reality show. It really is. It was a fun ride. It's a hot mess. There's a second book that I'm planning on picking up because it's just that hot of a mess, but I didn't like some of the language in here because it was just one of those books that has the language in there that you know that's probably correct, and you know that people speak this way to other people, but it kind of made me feel uncomfortable. It does have some racial slurs. It has some slurs against, again, the LGBTQ plus community. It talks about women in a negative way, but it's giving you that insight about how Hollywood is, and we all know that we've heard negative things about Hollywood, so it wasn't that big of a, like a whoa that happened, you know, but just the secrets and just the messiness. It's good. 3 stars. I know my camera's not about to die right now. We're back. My camera is fully charged now. Getting back to it. Okay, the next book that I read for the month of September was the Book of V. I can't remember. Anna Solomon, something like that. Oh, I'll put a picture here. It was a NetGalley arc that I've had on my shelf for a really long time. Like, embarrassingly a long time, but I gave this book 2.5 stars. It is a book about 3 women who are linked up in some way. I did not really enjoy this book at all. It felt like I was reading literally 3 different books that were just like put into one, even though in the end it did all come together full swing. But it just wasn't very enjoyable to me. I thought that it was a little weird, and just the way that the women were related, I didn't really believe it. It just wasn't for me. Now, I can respect it in a way that it was beautifully written, and the Jewish aspect I did enjoy because I like learning about different cultures. I like learning about different religions, and there was a lot of Jewish tradition within this book that I really did enjoy, which is why I ended up giving it 2.5 stars and not just like 1 or 2 stars. But yep, that's it. Alright, and then the next book that I ended up reading was called Pigeon Blood Red, and this is by Ed Duncan. I ended up giving this 3.5 out of 5 stars. The reason I read this is because it's the first book in a series that I received from the actual author and the publisher, and I needed to read all of the other books before I got to the 3rd one. It is about a hitman named Rico and his journey within this. His boss man gets something stolen from him, so he has to go claim it, and through the actual getting the stuff back, he murders a bunch of people. I thought it was enjoyable, which is weird because it's about a hitman, but I enjoyed it. The only reason why I ended up giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars is because it was a little harder to get into because it is slow, but once the action starts happening, it's just like it just goes and goes and goes. But I really did enjoy it enough to go ahead and read the 2nd book, and then I have the 3rd book in my TBR stack for October, even though that book, the 3rd book, was supposed to be read in September. But you know me, I never stick to my TBR, so I don't even know why I make those videos. But anyways, 3.5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a really good read, and you can tell that Ed Duncan has some background knowledge in being like in law enforcement. Well, not in law enforcement, he's a lawyer, but he has that background knowledge, and I like it when authors have some sort of background knowledge on what they're talking about, because you can actually tell within the text that they know what they're talking about, if you get what I mean. So yeah, ended up enjoying it. If you like hitman stories, it's a really short read as well. It's only like 215 pages, so I would recommend it to you. This series so far, it's getting better and better as the books go on, because I did end up reading the 2nd book in the series for September as well. Alright, then the next book that I read, oh my god, I loved this book. I ended up listening to this book on audio because I had a credit for Audible, so I just went ahead and picked this up, and this is The Trouble with Hating You. This is by Sajini, I apologize, Sajini Patel, and this is I would say enemies to lovers romance, because they don't like each other at all at the very beginning. This is about an Indian family, or these two Indian families, and the two main characters, Leah and Jay, are set up to be married through an arranged marriage with their families. Leah has a really bad reputation because she's considered easy, and she's considered somebody that has gotten around in the past just because she doesn't follow traditional Indian principles about saving yourself for marriage. Jay, on the other hand, has a very, very dark secret with his past life, and he blames himself for what happened when he was younger. And these two characters, like I said, they don't really like each other at first. That's why I classified it as enemies to lovers, because I don't think that they hate each other. And there's an argument going around where hate to love and enemies to lovers is completely different. Whatever. Just know that they don't really like each other at first, but then they just start forming this fun relationship, and Jay he doesn't care what people say about Leah, and Leah, she has a smart mouth, she's very strong-willed, she doesn't care if she hurts people's feelings, she has a strong group of girlfriends, and it was just, I loved this book. I absolutely loved it. I thought that it was great. I ended up giving it 5 stars. If I could have given it a higher ranking, I would. But it was just a really good book, and it has a lot more like deeper elements to it as well. Rape culture is in here, victim blaming is in here, so if that's a trigger warning for you, I would just be mindful of that. Also, spousal mental abuse is in here as well. But I loved it. It was funny. I laughed out loud in a lot of parts just because Jay and Leah's banter going back and forth, it was really enjoyable, and their relationship was steamy, like steamy steam. Even before they get physical with each other, like, you know, the physical part of their relationship, just like the chemistry that they have going back and forth with each other, loved it. But if you haven't picked this up, I would highly recommend it to you. It's a really good read. The audiobook was really good. I really enjoyed it, but read it. Alright, the next book that I read, I ended up doing a reading vlog on because it came in a mystery box. It was the Once Upon a Book Club box that I received. So I'm not going to go too into detail about it. I'll leave it down below, linked in the cards above. But this is The Daughters of Foxcote Manor by Eve Chase, and this is about a family, or a family and a nanny who moved to a manor in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, because something bad has happened to the family itself. The mom is kind of losing her mind a little bit, and the dad of the family wants her to get away from everything and kind of recuperate a little bit. But there is a mystery going around the family. There's a mystery around the manor itself, because the people who live in this community, the small community, have their own rules, have their own principles, and they don't really like outsiders coming in. So there's just a lot of secrets about the surrounding area, about the house, about the history of the house. It's a really good book, and I liked how it ended up ending. I liked how everything came together in the end. I ended up giving this 4 stars, I believe. Yes, I ended up giving this 4 stars. So I liked it. And that book box was adorable. So if you are looking for a good book box that has gifts that actually like go with the novel and that have a purpose, I'd pick it up. Again, I'll leave that linked for you below. Oh, and that was a thriller, by the way, and I just kind of threw it on the ground, sorry. The book that I read is The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. I ended up giving this 3 stars. I thought that this book was a little bit rambly. It took a little bit longer than I usually like for like the horror aspects to start coming out. It's the rambling that the author chose to have getting to that aspect. I thought it took a little bit longer than it should have, but I thought that it was a cool novel. Like, I've never read anything like it before, and I thought that it was a really, really cool novel. The only reason I gave it 3 stars is because it was a little slow for me. It was cool. It was a cool novel, and I will be recommending this to people. So, the next book that I read was Clap When You Land, and this is by Elizabeth Acevedo. This is the first book that I've ever read by this author. It will not be the last. Definitely not. I loved this book because it's written in verse. I ended up listening to the audiobook, and it was fabulous. If you can listen to the audiobook of this, do it. It is beautiful, and I felt these characters, or felt what these characters were going through. I felt their anger, I felt their sorrow, I felt everything about this novel, because listening to that audiobook, I loved it. I literally drove around in my car for a couple of days for like an hour more than I was supposed to, just to listen to this audiobook, and it was beautiful. Oh my gosh. So this book is about two sisters who don't know about each other, and after their father dies in a tragic plane crash, they find out about each other, and then they end up meeting, and they're kind of, I mean, they're going through it obviously because their father just died, and their father was both of their worlds. And when they find out about each other, they really don't know how to take it, because they are the only women that has been in their like father's eye. And I wouldn't say jealousy is an aspect. I would just say that being a teenager and finding out that you have a sibling is a really hard thing to go through, and both of these girls take it upon themselves to try to figure out how to get along and meet, and it's so pretty. Like, it's just so pretty. One of the sisters is very well endowed with money. One of these sisters is from a very poor community, so they live completely different lives, but when they come together, their relationship just flourishes, and they support each other in ways that they never thought that they would have support. So it's just a beautiful novel. Read it. My camera cut off again. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. Like, I don't know what's wrong with it. Okay. Then the next book that I read is The Last Straw. This is also by Ed Duncan. This is the second book in the series. I can't remember what the series is at the moment, but it's the second book, and I ended up giving this book 4 stars because it was a lot quicker and just jumped right in from where the first book left off. Again, it's about Rico being a hitman, and that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to ruin anything for you. But it's really good. I think you should pick it up because it's very, very fast-paced, and it talks about a hitman, and you got a lot of killing going on, and it's just really suspenseful, and it's like watching an action movie. Then the next book I read. Oh, Jesus Lord. Okay, so this is Riot House. Callie Hart, I believe. I think that's her name. I'm going to put the picture up there for you, but oh, Lord. We read this for the Sorry Not Sorry Literally Trash Book Club that I'm a part of, and I'll leave the link down below for you so you can come join. October's pick is For Psychos. I should have looked at the author's name, but it's called For Psychos. We read a trashy novel, a trashy romance novel every month. We get to pick, or we get to like vote on it and see which book we want to read. It's really fun, and we just like to talk about trashy novels, and we have a lot of fun, so join. I'll leave all the information down below. We read Riot House for the month of September. Oh, God. Ugh. So this is supposed to be a dark romance, or a dark academia romance, I should say, about this girl named Elodie and this guy, what is his name? I don't even remember his name, Ren. And Elodie is from well, they're both from a military background, but Elodie's dad sends her to a private boarding school and just uproots her and moves her after her mother tragically dies, and we find out during the novel how her mother dies. But when Elodie gets there, she meets this guy named Ren, and Ren is the bad boy of the school, and he just runs the school, and he's written in a way that he's supposed to be like a bad boy all the time. Like, he's just bad, 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 bad. Like, every girl just swoons over him and everything like that. But the way that he was written was comical to me, because he was written as a bad guy, but you never found out why he was so bad. And the way that he just talks to people he's just a jerk. Like, there's nothing about him that I found attractive whatsoever. And I don't understand why Elodie was so attracted to him. I don't understand. I did not get the chemistry. Yeah, he did take up for her. Yeah, he did do something to her father, but I didn't like this book at all. I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars, and for me that's a really low rating because I rate books very high. I always find something that I like about novels, but this one I just couldn't get in it. The only person that I liked was a side character that you didn't even hear from a lot. She's called the Tall Redhead. I liked Carrie until she turned out to be weird. Like, okay, I like weird people, but she just there was secrets, and I did not like that. I don't like it when friends have secrets with each other and they're supposed to be best friends and all that kind of stuff. Didn't like it. And then the way that the book ended was just weird. Came out of left field. Don't understand it at all. The only reason I kept reading it is because it's part of the book club, and I don't think any of us really liked it. So there's that. It's the last book. It's Her Last Move by John Mars, and I ended up giving this 4 stars. Really like this book. It's very, very fast paced. The only reason I gave it 4 stars is because there were some things in here that I was just like, okay, that could have been a little bit better. This is about a woman named Becca Vincent, and she is a woman detective, and there's a serial killer that's killing everybody, and he has people on his list, and he's going in order based off of like the least to the greatest. And while Becca is trying to figure out all of these different things, this man is just going around and killing a bunch of people, and she's trying to stop him before he gets to the last person on the list. And I liked this book. I thought it was very inventive in a way that I have never read a thriller like this before, like a detective thriller like this. But there was one thing almost at the very end of the novel that happened, and I did not like it at all. So ended up giving it 4 stars. And I'm really not explaining this book really well, but that's because if I explain it anymore, I'm going to ruin stuff for you, and I don't want to do that because I'm terrible about doing that. So if you like detective thrillers, I would read this. John Mars is a really good writer, and I plan on reading more of his books. So there's that. I don't know if I really explained it all that well. And the very last book that I read on the very last day of the month is called This Is the Story of How We Met, and this is a short story by Ivy Oakes. It's a really cute short story about how 2 people in high school meet, and there's story behind it. There's friendship, there's heartache, there's just a bunch of stuff that's going on, and it's so pretty, and it's like a novella to lead up to the actual series itself. And Ivy Oakes, I loved her writing, and she is just sweet all the way around anyways. And I really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was really cute, and I think that you'll like it too, especially if you like heartwarming, fluffy YA books. I think you would really like this, and it was just, read it. Alright guys, so those are the books that I read in the month of September. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know that I kind of talked on and on and on and on in some capacity in this video, but I'm just excited to be back. I will be back every week. I'm not going to take off for 2 weeks like I did. It's just been cray-cray. But I think I'm in a routine now to where I'll be able to film at least 1 video a week. Maybe 2. But 1, yes. 1, yes. But again, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you have good reads in October. I will see you again soon. You might see me in the same outfit because I don't like changing my clothes all that much for videos. No, that's just me. Okay, hope you have a great day. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Let me know what you read in the month of September. Let me know what you enjoyed. Have you read any of the books that I talked about? Again, have a fabulous day.